Okay. So anyways, here we are, guys. This is kind of weird. Usually I don't do things in the morning, but I am still on Vladivostok and Blagoveshchensk and where else were we? Birobidzhan time. So I had quite the journey. And so I wanted to take this time to real quick get a video going and upload it because I got a very interesting but unusual set of questions from someone who wants to move to Russia. And I mean, unusual. Usually, like one of the reasons why I made that recent video about moving to Russia, and it was because I sort of get asked essentially the same questions over and over again. And so that video kind of asked it. This person had some questions that I just have really never gotten before. So I thought that'd be exciting. And I kind of now have this policy where if someone wants a really long answer, I told them, as Kevin Samuels would put it, book a session with me and let's do a private consultation about this. His thing was like, I don't have the money or something like that, or he was just like, I don't want to do that. So I'm going to answer him now, and at least we're going to get content out of it because it's really pretty wild. So anyways, he has a few questions here, but the organization of them is a little complicated. So question number 2 is massive, so we're going to break it down. So anyways, he says that he wants to know the educational and intellectual scene here in Russia. I don't know how to answer that. That is a very big question because if you were in America, well, what does the intellectual scene look like in America? That's like, you could say a group of tenured Harvard professors is an intellectual scene. You could even say that certain sides of YouTube, like, I don't know, would PragerU be considered like an intellectual scene and the people who revolve around that? Or would a bunch of stoners who get together around Cleveland and talk about how their whiteness makes them evil, is that an intellectual scene? Very interesting question, but I don't quite know even how to answer. Maybe you guys know, because today I'm finally back in reality, the reality of what they call, the real internet and a big effective computer that has a mouse and a keyboard for the old man here. So if you guys have any questions, or you can write them basically anywhere on the Tim Kirby Russia channel under any post. And guess what? I'll see them. So our most recent post was from Putin's Z-Bot. He had something funny to say. You can write under that and I'll see it. Okay. So I don't know. Maybe you guys know how to answer this. The educational and intellectual scene there. If you wanted to know about going to a university, all you need is money. Like if you especially want to study Russian, for the last, 10 or 15 years since I've been here, really, man, all you need is cash. And that's it. And they'll take you and you can get like a Russian language certificate or degree or whatever. Yeah. So what is the situation with accessing libraries? There are libraries all over the place, and I've never tried to use one. I mean, my kids have gone to libraries and taken out books and stuff, but that was with their mom, so I don't quite know how that works. But I'm sure it's not a huge problem. Then again, it's one of these things where, kind of 21st century, why is this important? He continues on to ask, are there English language books at the library? I would say, besides like that huge, gigantic Lenin library downtown, no. That's probably highly unlikely. Or if they are, they're like going to be like children's books for, the kids who have to learn English at school. So I don't know, but why? Very interesting that like one of the top questions was about libraries. That's different, very different. Yeah, this is both physical copies and online. Well, about online books, there's a thing called online piracy. Steal whatever you want. If you get the type of ebook that is not linked to Amazon, I forget. I think the Kindle ebooks are linked to Amazon, but there's another format that's just an sort of open format. You can just steal any books you want because it's pretty much impossible right now to legally download books in English especially from places like Amazon or Google Play or whatever. It's pretty much all blocked. So just steal them because they're all over the Russian internet. But that's something you have to kind of learn how to do. It's all a matter of stealing stuff online. I mean, if you don't mind reading from an electronic book, then the world is yours. You just have to put in more effort now than you used to in the past. But yeah, so again, very interesting. So this continues on with his questions. Note, one of the interesting things about human psychology is how this is all part of the same question. So far, like the first 10 minutes of our little discussion here are all part of the same question. Interesting. Have all Western e-content providers now blocked RU completely? No, you can watch YouTube here, for example. But also it's the question of who blocked whom. Because like most Western corporations, because they're afraid of getting busted for sanctions. So like Walmart, which you used to be able to order things from Walmart here. I know. I know. I cannot shed my hillbilly nature. Walmart blocks things coming from Russia. But I believe that ultimately it was Russia who blocked Facebook and Instagram, but not WhatsApp, which is also part of the family. So it's not necessarily the company that owns them, but the way that these companies behave. What is that called? LinkedIn? LinkedIn has been banned here for a long time because they absolutely refuse to comply with Russian law in terms of the internet. So LinkedIn has been banned for a long time. We have some comments, I guess, about the books here. Christopher, our good buddy Christopher, says, intellectual scene. Think the 1950s, U.S. student empowerment protest will get you the boot. Russia is much like China and much like the whole Eastern world is not into cutesy poo protesting. That is not really a thing here. So yeah, Christopher continues, any EPUB without digital rights management. Pete adds, go to z-lib.org. Click on books, then search for whatever you want. I use it all the time. So that's z-lib.org, according to Pete, is a good place to get books. My daughter has an electronic book, and we would have loved to have bought books legally from Amazon, but they won't let us. So screw them. Anyways, let's see. So about the content providers, I don't know. One of the problems here with this question is it's sort of like, well, what do you exactly need? Like, because there's VPNs. Yeah, Netflix is gone, because I know a lot of people love Netflix. I've never used it once. I may have watched JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 6 Stone Ocean from Netflix via Russian services. We'll call it that much. But besides that one TV show, I've never watched anything on Netflix. So if you're talking about something like Netflix, yeah, that's blocked. But I don't know. Like kind of hard to say. I don't know. Yeah, a lot of things are blocked, but not everything. And there's always a way around it. So if you really want to watch it, I'll put it this way: every Hollywood movie is torrentable, all of them. I'll tell you another thing. You can watch as much American football as you want because Russia, I don't quite know how it works, but somehow Russia gets the actual stream from America, including with like the local commercials. Yes, you can watch as much American football as you want over here. And that's what counts. Let's see. I prefer cheaper air. Wait. He said, have all Western economy. Okay, we got that. Suppose they put me in a. This is one of the weird ones. This is the most interesting thing of everything this guy wrote. Suppose they put me in a rural area away from Moscow. Now, according to my email here, maybe this person wrote something before this email and I'm missing it, so please forgive me if I'm wrong. But I don't see anything before this email, okay? And he says, suppose they put me in a rural area away from Moscow. My question is, who is this they? If you're referring to communism, now communism did kind of tell people where they needed to go very often, but that doesn't exist anymore. Who knows? Maybe one day that system is going to come back. We don't know. Russia's changing before our eyes every minute. But as it stands today, we are in a capitalist system where there is a constitutional right in Russia to go wherever you want, and they can't restrict you. Obviously, when it comes to military mobilization, those rules seem to be changing a little bit, but that's maybe a topic for another day. So I don't quite even know how to ask. So they put me in a rural area away from Moscow. No one is going to put you anywhere, man. It's from what I'm understanding, you're an American citizen. So in that way, Russia and America are very similar. No one's going to put you anywhere. I prefer cheaper areas with good people and no crime. Guess what? I don't know. Well, about cheaper areas, in the past, like when I first arrived to Russia, it was a lot easier. Moscow was really expensive. The far north, like the Arctic, was really expensive, and Sakhalin Island were really expensive. And everywhere else was less expensive. It was a lot easier, but it seems like that gap has kind of shrunk. If you want to go somewhere with cheaper real estate prices, then anywhere other than Moscow and St. Petersburg is going to be a lot cheaper. That's it. If you're talking about real estate, if you're talking about electricity, that's going to be Siberia, because it's the electricity in Siberia is like super ultra subsidized. It costs like nothing, and I do mean it costs like nothing. That's good. If you want to talk about food, like I said, the whole food thing used to be a lot more prevalent. I was just on Sakhalin Island. The first time I went there, I was stunned how expensive stuff is. But they actually, for those of you who've played Cyberpunk 2077, if I can find it, hold on. Biotechnica Flats Cyberpunk. Let's see if I can maybe do a screen share about this. Let's see, get the picture up there. This is why I need producers. Oh, here we go. This is perfect. So, yes, if we, oh, no, that. All right, so if we take this, excuse me, if we take this and we do a screen share of this screen, okay, and we just start this. You see this, this region here, how it just looks like a bunch of futuristic, like greenhouses outside the city. This is literally what Yuzha-Sakhalinsk has turned into since I was there last. It's pretty unbelievable. So anyways, let me, oh my goodness, let me stop sharing here. Stop. Just to kind of show you what what I'm referring to. So there's all these greenhouses out there for miles and miles, and so food there's gotten a lot cheaper. So I don't know, my friend who I do not know about things, but generally Moscow rent and real estate prices are way higher than the rest of the country. Yeah, no crime. There's no, but based on. Another thing about crime, this person didn't quite say where they were from. Based on someone who's from the city of Cleveland, like the city itself, everywhere in Russia has no crime. Compared to Cleveland, just crime doesn't exist here. If you are from, where did they send those? Was it Myrtle Beach? Oh my God, where did they send those refugees from as a prank or trolling? Was it Myrtle Beach or Martha's Vineyard? If you're from Martha's Vineyard, then maybe crime in Russia seems a lot more relevant. But again, it's kind of follows the same rules. Large urban environments have a bit more crime. Rural environments tend to have less. But overall, it sort of depends on what your definition of where there's crime and when there isn't. From Cleveland's perspective, there's no crime here. I have no need for big city amenities and restaurants, but do they have UPS, FedEx-like delivery there? Well, the foreign delivery services are now weird. DHL only can send things out of Russia, but not to Russia. Ooh, how interesting. But there are many Russian courier services, including SDEK, which is one of the most beautiful words in any language, SDEK. They're pretty big. I don't know. There's a ton of them. And, yeah, sending things around Russia is not a problem. There's also the Russian post office. So, yeah, I've sent hundreds of packages, literally, because I used to run a business that involved that around Russia. Never had a problem. So, yeah, there's tons of that stuff here. Also, and also, this is the kind of the funny thing is, as you guys are listening to this person was trying to kind of explain to me, like, well, just answer my questions real quick so that way we don't have to book a session. As you can see, how many minutes are we already into this? We are into this recording. Where's the thing that says how long we've been recording? Absolutely disgusting. Where's the thing that says? There's supposed to be a thing that says. I'm repulsed. But anyways, maybe if I make the window smaller, it'll show. Hold on. No, it's not going to. What a jerk. But anyways, we're into this. I feel like we're into this like 10 or 15 minutes. And I haven't even gotten through like half of his questions. This is the whole thing about why we're either going to do sessions to discuss this with people or we're going to do them online. So that way there's actual content and we can all sort of learn together. Also, I want to be near an industrial machine shop type and university centers there so I can be productive and helpful. Again, productive and helpful. This leads into your previous question about where they put me and being productive and helpful. If you just mean in like a general societal sense, I get that. But you're almost talking like this is the Soviet Union, which it's not. I mean, there are machine shops all over the country, man. It's a big country. There's all sorts of people making all sorts of stuff. I mean, even around Moscow, there are people who do custom metal work and stuff like that. And there's a university in every city. Like every Russian state, we'll call them states to be easy American lingo. Every state has a state capital, and in every state capital, there's like one or two universities for sure. Not including, all the other universities. So like anywhere you go, any state capital is going to have some sort of machine shop or someone, whether it's private or something. But again, to be productive and helpful, if you're talking about communism, man, communism is gone. Like there is no, well, I guess maybe technically there is, but you're not going to come here and go on Saturdays to help pick up twigs or something like Lenin did. Okay, that doesn't exist anymore. That's gone. That's in the past. Yeah. So anyways, as questions continue, now this is his sort of next set of questions. So that was all sort of one block question. So here we have block number 2. I shall do it after the above. Remember, people even lived in Stalin's gulags in Siberia when they had no way to get out. Well, wait, what? Remember, people even lived in Stalin's gulags in Siberia when they had no way to get out. The gulag system, as it was called, was a set of penal colonies. It was for people who are convicted of crimes. Were all those convictions fair? That's definitely up for debate. But the thing is, it's essentially a prison system. So obviously, people in a prison system don't have a way out because they're in prison. Okay, and now Siberia as a whole. But again, people live voluntarily in Siberia. Either they were born there, and if they don't like it, they're too lazy to leave. Or a lot of people move there because the ecology is amazing and it's really pretty, and there's a lot of new economic opportunities happening right now. So this preface to this guy's question is just weird about Stalin's gulags and people can't leave Siberia. There's a way to leave Siberia. It's called a train or an airplane or a car. You can drive out. I do everything the right way and ethically, so no blemishes on me. Good for you. I am very polite and do not use any profane language. Then you're a better person than I am. I believe people will like me for my fairness and respect, love, and just approach. Okay. But again, being a nice person does not have any effect on the migration services. They don't care. They are looking for you to check bureaucratic checkboxes to live here. And from your email here, you haven't mentioned anything even about really besides your American citizen, I guess. Oh, there is a previous email. Oh, I'm sorry. I lied to you guys. He did send a previous email. We'll look at that. But again, for this person who sent this will remain anonymous, although they did include their name. As I've mentioned before in many videos, the migration services do not care if you're nice or well-mannered or ethical. They care whether you're carrying diseases, whether you have a minimum amount of money, whether you have a place to live, whether you have a criminal history in the country that you're from, whether you can kind of, sort of at a basic level, read and speak Russian, whether you kind of, sort of know the basics of Russian law on a very primitive level. And there's probably something else that I'm forgetting. But anyways, that's what they care about. No one cares if you're a nice person. People on the street do, but the government doesn't. So anyways, let's see. He had some more questions. I want to know how to move there with my belongings and my wife. Oh, so he's married. And that's where things get tricky. I gave you a link to my previous video, and I hope you watched it because it explains everything about this whole having a wife issue. I don't know how you can help. I cannot help anyone move to Russia outside of the American Village Project. The American Village Project is unfortunately stalled out. However, there are offers from other regions of Russia that I'm going to try to pursue to maybe speed things up or have multiple villages, because trust me, plenty of people are interested. Is there anyone there willing to help refugees coming from the USA? I am, but at this point, I have no mechanism. There's no means, Bump the mic there. There's no mechanism. There's no means to help anyone because you have to have some way to get around the immigration quotas, and I don't have a magic wand for that. I can write more about this, but since you want to be specific, I keep it short. Okay. Are you connected with the kolkhoz scene there? This is another thing where this person goes back to communism. Kolkhoz, that's collective farms, that died with communism. There are no collective farms. In fact, these all collective farming, well, I shouldn't say all. I'm sure there's something somewhere, but in general, whether it be in Israel, where it was tried, whether it was in the Soviet Union or China, I think they still kind of do it in North Korea, but obviously North Korea's results aren't very good. Any sort of like hippie communes in America, they don't work. The whole collective farm thing is horribly inefficient. It doesn't work. And one of the reasons why Russia's become an agro giant is because it got rid of that system. So the whole kolkhoz thing is dead. I mean, obviously, there's still some people who their legacy is from that system, and so they were sort of born into it as it died. And some of them farm privately, some of them just drink a lot. It's a pretty sad thing. But there are no collective farms. It is done. So, am I connected to the kolkhoz scene? No, I can't be because it doesn't exist. And can help with scanning Gumilyov's books, like Ancient Rus and the Great Steppe, 1,000 years ago. If you're talking about 1989, so that's not Lev Nikolaevich, which Gumilyov was alive in the late 80s, or did Lev Nikolaevich live a long time? The West and the Great Steppe, the History of Russia, Mark Voinar, Academia. I don't know what's going on here. But anyways, okay. So anyways, there's a lot of people named Gumilyov. But anyways, this is another weird thing where I think you have a strange perception of Russia that is very outdated. There's absolutely no need to scan physical books from Russian history. As soon as Russia sort of left communism, and as soon as scanners cost, I don't know, $100 or $200, they started that a long time ago. The necessity to scan the works of great Russian writers, that was done probably before Putin even came into office, or maybe in the very first few years of Putin. You're living in a Soviet fantasy past, my friend. That's not the way the world works. All of the great writers, if you're talking about Gumilyov, the Eurasianist, everything he's ever written is scanned. Everything is online, especially in Russian. There's no need for any of that. So again, I really think you need to try your best here to sort of update your information about Russia, because the Soviet Union is gone. It is gone. It is dead. Communism does not exist here. And you might be thinking that there's some sort of like remnants of it, and maybe there are, but there aren't that many. So he says, he sent me a paper, and did I send it along to someone else? And he was asking for people's phone numbers and stuff, and I don't give those out. So anyways, he had one last major question, which would be a good topic for a whole video. So it's kind of a long question here. I didn't check any of your questions. Hold on. I've been ignoring you. Excuse me. Christopher is writing, satellite decoders are not unlawful to make and sell in Russia, so anyone with a C-band dish can enter satellite sports broadcasts. Oh, so that's how they do it. Okay. Wife wants to live in Kolomna. Kolomna is awesome. I think because, Chris, you went there on my recommendations. And in fact, guys, Kolomna is so awesome that I'm going to put a video here for all of you guys. So hold on. No, Rumble, let's see, Kolomna. So anyways, we're going to put in the chat. Maybe you guys will see it. Maybe you won't. Who knows? But you can look just for the word Kolomna on Rumble, and you're going to see it, and it's going to be amazing. So anyways, that's my video about the city. It is a fantastic little place outside of Moscow. Best of both worlds. It's very old Russia-ish, yet it's not that far from Moscow, so it gives you the best of both, which is one of the other reasons why I'm very hopeful that eventually the American village around Serpukhov, which offers the same sort of absolutely idyllic lifestyle, will happen. But we'll see. So next week, I'm going to have a big trip to talk to a different region of Russia about this very sort of same type of project and see if they're going to be able to push the ball forward a little bit faster. Sell your belongings. Cash is easier to move than a house full of junk. Shipping anything to Russia. Oh, that's what you think. So Christopher thinks that he was worried about like FedEx and shipping to like ship all his stuff to Russia. Well, I can tell you something, Christopher. I know someone, an American woman, who sent, let's just say, we'll do it in meters for the international audience. Let's say like a 3 meter long by 2.5 meter tall. Okay, so like fits in a average room, 3 meter long, 2.5 meter tall, bookshelves worth of books. She shipped that all from America to here. She is such a book fan that she shipped that many books. I cannot imagine how much in weight that would be. Maybe 200, 300 pounds worth of books. You know, books add up quickly, especially when there's like 400 of them or 500 or however many books fits on a shelf of that size. 500, 400, something like that. So anyways, I do know people who've done it, but that was a long time ago in the past. Again, if someone is going to move to Russia, they really shouldn't rely on shipping a bunch of stuff, but they should just generally take what they have. Again, going back to, I've mentioned in this program many times, my Peace Corps experience and how they gave us this sort of bizarre like list of stuff we need to bring to Kazakhstan. And one of them was batteries, which are, you know, kind of heavy and they take up a lot of space and stuff. And they sold batteries all over Kazakhstan. It's the same thing. Like this person seems to be very nostalgic or excited about like this late 1980s Russia, from the way his messages are sort of formed. I think that's kind of where he wants to move. He almost wants to move back to like the Gorbachev era, Gorbachev, I should say it the right way, that era. But it's like, guys, no, Gorbachev is now dead, and that era is dead, and you should travel lightly if you're going to move to Russia. He says he mentioned having a wife. He didn't mention having kids. You know, they give you 23 kilograms a bag. Maybe you want to pay extra baggage and take 2 23 kilogram suitcases or bags or whatever you want to refer to them as, and like a backpack, so your carry-on luggage, that's going to put you at 23, and 23 is 46, and 46 and 15 makes 56, 61. So there you go. You have 61 kilograms of stuff to bring with you, and that's really all that you should bring with you because, like, you know, you don't really need anything else, and everything here exists. Like, again, I go back to in the early 90s, you know, people, or should say even communism, you know, people back then would, if they went on vacation somewhere, there were photographs where people would, if they went on vacation or a business trip to Kiev, there's a couple famous photographs where literally every person on the airplane from Kiev to Moscow had a cake in a box on their lap. Because one of the few places where they made like a luxurious, like, you know, cake that like a kind of pretty, they're called Kievsky torty or whatever, or torty, I forget how to say it. I don't discuss cakes very often. But the Kiev cake was very pretty and nice. And so like literally people would go through the pain in the butt of sitting with a cake on their lap because, you know, the Soviet Union was very poor. If someone went overseas, they always brought back like a bunch of jeans and stuff. All that stuff is gone. This whole thing of like having to bring stuff from it's gone. It's vanished. It is the past. It is a distant, forgotten past. So, Contra Veritatum Mundi writes, how many kopecks does lunch cost at a canteen? Yeah, that's a classic there. Anyway, truth like a lion. I live in the West. I got my degree in the West. Almost no one in the West understands the glorious 1,000-year Russian history. Sad, but so be it. Onward. Well, truth like a lion. Russia's very responsible for this because Russia's been incapable, for the most part, of making a successful movie internationally. Completely failed. Has never done it. There are actually a couple movies out there that maybe if they had the marketing push, they could have done it. I think that like there's this movie called The Factory, and it's a real sort of intense thriller about like a factory uprising in Russia. It's of course it's a fantasy, but I think people in America would have really liked it if they could have dubbed it really well or did something. So the potential is there, but anyways, basically people don't know about the history of your country because you do a terrible job of marketing it. When I was in university, I saw that there were anime otaku nerds everywhere, and they were all obsessed with studying their kanji and katakana and all this stuff, and hiragana and whatever other ganas there are outside of Africa. And so, like, you know, anime and like cool Japanese video games have gotten so many people so excited and so curious about Japan. It's kind of like, okay, Russia, we got to do the same thing. If people want to know about Russian history, even in sort of like a corny way, got to make good video games, got to make good movies about it. I mean, if we wanted people to learn about the history of Russian tanks, World of Tanks from Belarus sure did a good job of that. So, anyways. We have, I think it's a video message from Chris here. Okay, what's going on, Chris? Okay. All right, so Chris just kind of sent a video from his vacation here. Okay. Anyways, I don't know how to display that on the screen. I don't know about Chris's privacy level here, so we're not going to throw that all over the place. But anyways, so to this person who is remaining anonymous, I hope I actually answered your questions. That would be really good if I did. That would be, in fact, amazing. So, yeah, if any of you guys have anything to say, you can raise your hand or talk. Wow, we have a few people with the professional, the pro accounts listening. Hello, Jasmine and Sami Ahmed. Very nice to see you there with your pro Telegram accounts. You're doing better than me. I have not gotten the pro account yet. But so anyways, let me go back. And if anyone wants to talk, you can raise your hand right now. If you have any more questions, please do, because otherwise, yeah. So take your time now to raise your hands, ask questions, and I'm going to answer this person's final question. Okay. So he says, if you can make a second, I am a brown skin, his verbiage, not mine, non-European, race American. Not born here. So anyways, from what I gather, he implied that he is an American citizen, but he is non-European, but is also a non-native citizen of the United States. Okay. I want to know what the situation is for people in this category. Well, the problem is, man, there's a lot of people who are non-European looking. Are you Asian, as in like Chinese looking? Because if you're Chinese looking, you'll always be mistaken for, unless you're like, well, depending on how you look. Because Chinese people do look different from people from Central Asia, so it kind of depends a bit on how you look. But there are a lot of Asian people already in Russia because they've been here since the beginning. You know what I mean? Are you African? If you're African, you're going to stand out a lot. You're going to stand out a lot, and that's going to attract some positive attention. It's going to attract a lot of negative attention. One thing I tell everyone is for Russia Beyond, we did a documentary about the lives of people who are of African origin in Russia. 3 of them came here as adults. 3 of them were born here as children. And I'll put it this way. The 3 people who were born here and children have all contemplated suicide. So there you go. There you go. That I think that kind of spells things out. However, the people who came here as adults liked it very much, but they seem to be a bit more affluent. They seem to be living downtown in Moscow. They seem to be part of like diplomatic missions, or they came here because, you know, their dad is like this ultra successful surgeon or something. So based on our very unprofessional research, if you come here and you have children, your children might not have they might not have a good time, as they said on South Park. So I don't know, but that depends on you. It's, again, you never mentioned once in all this what your motivations are to live in Russia. If you really like it, then maybe that'll be cool. But the question is that I ask to people who are, especially French people, want to go to Russia, because people who are French tend to not at all look Slavic. I don't know what it is about the genetics, but like Roman Empire French genetics, especially France and England, British and French people do not look at all like Russians generally. So I include them in this, and I always tell them, why do you want to live in a country where you're always going to be different? That's the question. And that's, I guess, what I'd ask you. Why do you want to be different? Why do you want to stand out? Because as a white guy from the ghetto, I like looking like everyone else. I had enough of that as a kid. That stuff gets old real quick. So anyways, I think the world has been filled with enough history of these sort of ethnic-based repressions. And in fact, they're continuing now. So it's something to think about. Think about the pluses and minuses. What excites you about Russia? Does all the things that you see that are positives about Russia and that are exciting, do they outweigh the fact that you're going to be different? And this is something I also ask too, because we have most of the people who are excited about moving to Russia and joining the American village are Orthodox Christians. Okay, but there is a Protestant minority, and that's fine. But again, it's one of these things that I've told people, and I think I've even mentioned on this program before, is it's like, okay, so you're going to leave, let's just say America, because there's a lot of Protestants in America. You're going to leave America, where there's all sorts of Baptists and evangelicals, and there are all these churches, and it's the kind of Christianity you know, and you like the fact that there's this like Christian revival in Russia, but it is a completely different type of Christianity. It's a completely different ball game. And if you want to come here and maintain your Protestantness, you might find yourself to be very lonely, and you may lose that whole the whole like community side of Christianity. That is the whole maybe reason why you do it. Again, you're talking to a weirdo loner. So the community side of religion has never been particularly appealing to me. But for you, you might actually lose a lot in the pursuit of gaining something. Or I do tell people, most people who are Protestant, is what's going to happen is you're going to wind up being here. And it might be in your best interest to at least consider, joining the version of Christianity that's on the rise, because there's only one version of it that's on the rise right now. Unless you consider Mormonism, because technically Mormonism continues to grow, but it's, I'd sort of put it in its own separate category. If there's Orthodox, Catholic, and Protestant, Mormonism is kind of an offshoot of Protestantism that's, it's so far out that it's almost its own, probably is its own thing. So again, this is something that you want to consider. There are pockets of Protestants around Siberia. I could introduce you to maybe one of these two people, or at least give you a little bit of a shove in that direction, a polite shove, a friendly shove. If you want. But anyways, so that's the thing. This is the question that I ask people all the time is, why do you want to be somewhere where you are different? Because I'm an exception. All my ancestors came from Eastern Europe. All of them came from what was then the territory of the Russian Empire. When I don't open my mouth, I look exactly like everyone else. So I'm different. Why do you, as a person who does not look like me, who seems to be excited about late phase communism, why do you want to come here? Because you're not going to find late phase communism, and you're going to find a society that's more old school. Like people have more old school attitudes towards foreigners and all this stuff, and you're always going to provoke a reaction from people. Let's just say if you look like you're Hindu, I don't know what it's like to be Hindu, but I bet you have to discuss Bollywood a heck of a lot. And boy, after living here 10 years, every time you meet a new person, they're going to be like, oh my God, you're from India. I watched such and such Bollywood movie. And you're just like, oh God, please, I do not want to talk about Bollywood anymore. Please, I just want you to die. Like, is it worth that? Is it worth that daily annoyance? You tell me. You tell me. Okay. Someone did want to raise their hand. Irina did. Hello. Okay.
Hello.
Yes, hello,
Maybe
Irina.
you've already spoken about it, but I'd like to know, how is the American Village project going on?
It is stuck. We're opening a second front. So here's the thing. There's three fronts. The northern front, where Father Joseph Gleason is operating. People are moving there. In fact, the amount of people in the Rostov area that are English-speaking, mostly American Orthodox Christians is growing. But remember, the northern village is a homesteading community. However, the good thing is that so far the flow has been nice and slow, and they have been able to help people get through the migration quota, which is like the main thing. So that's happening. If you want to go right now, and you don't mind going up to the Great White North and doing it more in the homestead style, a little bit harder, a little bit of a different concept. Father Joseph, he's done it. He's a man of God, and he has seen the light, and he is we're putting in an incredible amount of effort into helping people, especially on the bureaucratic end. So that first front, the Northern Front, has succeeded. The Southern Front, which is my front, is stuck in this sort of eternal legal limbo. Every time we sort of solve a problem, a new one arises. And so right now we're feeling like we're kind of getting close to making the breakthrough, but you never know. I have to then probably go to a meeting tomorrow about all this stuff and work that out. I'll try to organize that. But anyways, the third front is Novgorod Veliki. So we're having a problem. We have Rostov Veliki, which is the less famous Rostov city in Russia. Rostov on Don, not Donu, is the real famous one. And Novgorod, the famous one, is Nizhny Novgorod. But in Novgorod Veliki, they have had they've been pretty excited about this project for a long time. But with the war and all that, we kind of pushed back a meeting, and I've been traveling. So in 2 weeks, I should go up there, and hopefully, because that region is very underpopulated, they might be able to sort of push this down the line faster, just like how Rostov Veliki is in the Yaroslavskaya region. And so they're a little bit more motivated to get more people and get more tax money. Whereas my project being the Moscow region's already really full of people, and their attitude is a little bit more like, do whatever you want, but you do it. Okay, so that's why things are a little slower on my end. But even with that, there's still some legal hurdles. So I'm hoping that with Novgorod Veliki that we can start a sort of the best of both worlds, where it'll have the public governmental support that Father Joseph has in the north, where they review people, they get them in the system, they give them the immigration quota spot, boom, boom, boom. It'll have that positive, but it'll have the positive of the Southern Front of it being more like a community and maybe actually being able to like build people houses in advance. So not only are you moving to Russia, but you're moving to Russia with a place to live, and it'll have a hopefully 0% mortgage, as in you just pay the cost of it. That you could pay off over 10 or 15 years or whatever it would be. So it essentially really set people up for a life in Russia. So I'm very excited about that project, although it is a bit far from here. So that's kind of where we're at. Everything is stuck in the mud on my end. But if you're really, really ready to go, and you're really ready to maybe live in an apartment for a while and then homestead, talk to Father Joseph Gleason, rock and roll. So did that answer your question?
Yes, thank you very much.
All right. My pleasure. So, yeah, sorry. Things are slow. Let's see. Do we have anything in the chat here? So, Truth Like a Lie, agreed Russia's terrible at marketing. I know, man. I know. But that does not erase its history and also gives gravitas to its history. Two things that can be true at once. Maybe, kind of. They say one of the reasons why the Bible, if you look at all the ancient religions going around the Mediterranean and the Middle East, why the Bible and Judaism sort of really rise, then explode into Christianity and later into Islam is because they held the line and they kept repeating, everything. They really, kind of kept their books in order, dotted their I's, didn't change things, and maybe there is an advantage to that. But anyways, guys, this was one person's journey to Russia, and because he did not want to do a session, we read through all his questions and answered all of them. So anyways, that's all for now. I don't see any more hands raised. I don't see any more questions. But anyways, so wait, with Truth Like a Lion, Christianity is Christianity. That's what's appealing to many in Russia, or NK. NK. All right. They understand this globally and love what Russia is standing for. Denominations mean nothing to believers in Christ. They stand as one. I think that's a little bit of historical revisionism, man. Talk to, oh my God, what's his first name? Talk to Father, is it Peter Hears? Yeah, go listen to Father Peter Hears, Hears, Heers. look up that guy and listen to his opinions, because you remember he's American, so he speaks English without any accent. Listen to his opinion on that. For coming from someone within the Orthodox Church, that is not really the angle that that Orthodoxy has on this. It is called orthodoxy for a reason. You know what I mean, man? So I think that perception is not accurate. But anyways, I'll talk to you guys later. Take care.